Howdy YouTube. Guess what today is? It's more winch time. I actually found a little bit of a window between jobs. Basically the reason I have time is today I had set up a couple on-site jobs and we got a heck of a snowstorm this morning. It was just a whiteout. So I rolled my truck in here. I'm letting it drip off right now. And we're going to get started on the winch. Next step is start cutting a hole in the bed. Set a piece of angle iron over here for a guideline, because I'm going to plasma cut all along there and up and around. So I'm actually going to cut out those first 2 feet here. The reason I'm doing that is I want a possum belly or whatever they call that on the front of my bed. That way I have a place to throw like pry bars or scrap metal when I'm going on site and stuff like that in without having to figure out how to lash it down to the bed. I can just throw it in there and it won't roll away. I got a 10-foot bed on my truck. It's not a very good bed. I'm pretty sure they slapped this bed on here just to sell the truck. Someday I hope to build myself a new one, but I figure in the meantime I'll just keep modifying this one and figure out exactly what I want, and then when I figure out what works and what doesn't work, then I'll build a nice one. Just a little background about this truck. I bought it, I guess 2 years ago now. Yeah, really close to 2 years ago. And the reason I bought it was it had the knuckle boom crane on it. And it did not have that welder. That was my welder I already had. But farm equipment's just getting bigger and bigger, and I was actually losing on-site work because I didn't have the means to move the equipment. So at first I had just bought a little hoist to go on the back of my pickup. I had an F-250 at the time, and it still wasn't near enough. You know, I got to move some major weight sometimes. So I was looking around for bigger cranes and whatnot, and I come across this truck, and has a DT 466 in it with the 10-speed. It's got air brakes. Like I said, it had the crappy bed on it, and it had the knuckle boom. It's a 7,000-pound knuckle boom, so it's definitely good, but I usually end up using it at the 3,500-pound distance most of the time, and that's actually getting to be a little bit small for me. Sometimes I need more than that. This truck was a heck of a deal. I don't know why they were selling it so cheap. It's only got 96,000 miles on it. When I got it, the knuckle boom was up against this bed, and then there was a toolbox between the cab and the knuckle boom. And it didn't take me very long to figure out that the knuckle boom cannot be up against the bed. because as is, when I'm loading it, the knuckle boom still swings on the back 2/3 of the bed. Someday I'm going to go in and take the generator off the side of my welder. I'm going to put it underneath the welder. This welder I used to have set up on a trailer, so I put the generator beside it because it was bolted down to the floor of the trailer, you know. But on the truck, then it doesn't quite work for me. I want to put it underneath the welder, slide the welder back to the bed here. I'm planning on building some nice welding cable reels. Go right here. So anyway, I slide the welder back to the bed, and I will actually move the knuckle boom back along with it too, that distance. When I move the knuckle crane back, then my air compressor is going to go up against the cab up in there. dirty and nasty as that is, then I'm going to take it out to the pressure washer. I punched these holes in this angle iron according to the PDF that Tulsa had on their website for this winch. But it's what I was wanting is when it's sitting here, I wanted the cable to come over the top of the bed. So basically the top of that spool should be at least as high as the top of the bed here. But I am down at least a ½ inch. So, I don't know. Probably moving these bolt holes up a ½ inch would not have been a good idea either. I would put it way out there on the flange. So, I guess I'm just going to put ½ inch spacers under this angle iron. I cut out a couple 3/4 inch by 2 inch by 4 inch spacers here. Just going to stick them underneath there real quick. And now the brake on the back side of the winch is hitting the frame. Well, I'm gonna have to worry about that tomorrow. It's Friday. I didn't get a whole lot done on this, but I guess I got a decent start. I'd keep working, but it's family night. The woman and the kid want to watch a movie tonight, so I'll go do that. Sounds like more fun than working anyway, right? In order to get underneath the frame there, I just simply cut it off. About 1/4 inch is all I took off. And then I drilled some holes in an angle iron and put it in this way instead of this way, so it sits on top of that and fits in there really nice. That's all I got done this morning. But I got to run off and check on a job for a customer. He possibly wants me to move a grain bin for him, so I need to go look at it, see if it's even going to be doable, and see if he even wants it, and all that good stuff. So who knows? Might get back to this evening, hopefully. I'll give you all a plasma quick tip real quick. If you want to cut circles in something, drill a hole in a scrap piece of iron bigger than the circle you want to cut. It makes a great template. You can hold that up there, clamp it on there, and then set your plasma cutter in there and go around. It's a lot easier when you're, have it on something. Go around in a circle. What really helps with gliding around in the circle is use lots of anti-splatter. Especially put it all on the outside of your nozzle. You can glide around real easy then. For this Trafame or Terrafame, or I don't know, go ahead and laugh at my pronunciation because I don't know how to say it. But these brand of torches, they're tapered on the nozzle. So you got to be careful what thickness of metal you use because that'll change in a hurry. But if I use 1/8 inch thick metal, then the hole I drill is 1/4 inch bigger than the hole I want. On this one I wanted to cut 1 inch holes so the socket would fit through the frame and into that bolt. So I drilled 1 1/4 inch hole in this, and it was almost exactly 1 inch, just slightly tight. Like if I wanted to go to exactly 1 inch, I would have had to just take the die grinder real quick and go around it. The winch is basically welded in. I'm not going to completely weld that down all the way until I have all my gussets and everything cut. Because one thing I've learned over the years is you do not weld it solid until the end. Because if you have to change anything, it's a whole lot easier to, remove just a few welds than it is all the welds. Burning 7018 in case you're curious. I punched some holes in this angle iron, and it's going to go in here, and that will tie the bed down to the frame, and also that will give me a couple holes here to put shackles in. I have that plate welded in. That's what I was trying to describe earlier. I have it lower than the top of the bed. It gives me a little possum belly that way. That way I can just throw stuff in here. So I'll have to fill in this little area through here. And I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do here. I'm thinking about just using the top of the toolbox. So just filling in this little area. I'll have to get cable, and I have to get hydraulic hoses. I'm waiting on that. I actually wasn't going to do this winch until I got the cable and the hydraulic hoses here, but I got thinking about it. I was like, oh, it doesn't really matter. I can put it in before that stuff shows up. My lighting's kind of bad. I got a shadow, but I kept forgetting to put this plug in the end of this shaft where I made this bushing here in the winch. So I was originally thinking, when I got done putting this winch together, I was actually going to put a strap iron clear across here and have that bushing on it. But I decided just to plug that and have the grease circ there in the end, that way I can grease it. And let's see, I'm going to give you a quick up close of this. I don't think I've done that yet. But that angle iron's welded on the frame of the bed and then goes down to the frame of the truck. It's bolted through with a couple holes in it for shackles up here. And then got pieces of sheet metal sitting in there to cover up my air lines. This is my first time filming under these new lights. I still don't have lights on the other side of the shop where I've been working on my winch. But this is underneath the new lights. We'll see if this is enough light or not. So this piece of metal goes right behind the winch. I'm actually going to have to use two pieces because I don't have one piece. That'll fit all the way in there. Plus I have to bend it in here, and this is only 18 inches wide. So two pieces.
And good morning, YouTube. I woke up this morning to a white world again. They said we had a chance of snow, but I didn't believe them. We didn't get much. I don't know. What is that? Less than an inch. But there was no wind with it for once, so it covered everything. Absolutely gorgeous. But it's a cold one too. It was -7 when I got up. Let's get back to this winch and see if we can get it finished up this morning. And that's the end, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to click that like button down there so I know you enjoyed it. Can't wait for my winch cable to get here and for my hydraulic fittings to get here so I can make up some hydraulic hoses and get this thing rip-roaring. There'll be more segments on this truck. You know, obviously, I've got to finish up the winch and I'll probably make some sort of gin pulls for it. I have no idea when I get onto that. You'll see a lot more of this truck in future videos. I've really been enjoying having it. It sure beats using my old 3/4 ton pickup that I had as a welding rig.